Hi, I'm George,
I'm Ali.
and we are past 168 hours, and this is our first broadcast, if you want to call it. And so we're going to debate, the issues that happened in the last week. So we're going to start with Egypt, and then we're going to move on to sort of universities and whether universities should have to, offer places to poor students even if they have lower grades.
Right, on to Egypt. Well, as you know, if you've been not living under a rock for the past 2 weeks, you've heard of Egypt. So you've got some, allegedly revolution falling off in Tunisia, and they all want this guy called Mubarak. No one really likes him. He's been around for far too long. Everyone
20 years, isn't it?
28, 29
I think
years?
28, yeah.
He says he's going to step down in September, but the protesters are like, what the hell? We've been standing here for a week in this square, doing nothing, getting, beaten up by your cronies. We don't want you to go in September, we want you to go now. So,
Yeah.
they're a bit pissed.
You can see why, because obviously they want instant action, and to say that he's going to step down in September, that's not going to instantly, provide gratification for the crowd.
Yeah, also he said that, I don't know how many times, far too many times for them. Like all these dictators, I'm going to step down soon, and then when it comes to it, I'm not going to step down because I feel I'm cool like that. So
Yeah, I think the other thing is to be careful, because now he's sort of given them something that's, obviously he thinks he's going to numb the crowd. But I think the issue is hopefully it won't turn into a Tiananmen Square.
I don't know about numb the crowd. I mean, he started with his curfews, 8 till 4, now it's 8 till 3. He's had his helicopters, his American F-16 jets over Tahrir Square. He's had his tanks blockading, and now he's discovered that hasn't worked, and he's like, what am I going to do now? I'm going to get a guy on camels with a stick, and I'm going to beat it out of the protesters.
I think this is the sort of modern revolution that we're going to see. Certainly in the next few years, I think we'll see quite a few revolutions. And I think the modern revolution is utilising technology, mobile phones and Twitter and websites like that to allow people to group and find places quickly.
Yeah, but he's shut down the internet.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't see that being a smart move, because all it'll do is it'll anger people.
Yeah.
And people still find a way. You can't shut down the internet. If you think you can censor the internet like China does.
Yeah.
You can't.
But even that doesn't work, because Google try and forward you to Google Hong Kong.
But I think it's really interesting now, because all the other countries, Israel, they've been caught with their pants down. They don't know what's going on. No one knows what's going on. But for the Americans, Egypt is the bulwark of peace in the Middle East. If that goes,
well,
I don't know.
Problem with Israel and Palestine.
Yeah. Because Mubarak, for all the bad stuff he's done, he has kept the peace there. If you look at the maps, Egypt's just so big, so powerful.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we don't want an Iran Mark II.
That's true. We don't.
That happened too quickly. We've got an extremist group coming in, and now we've got, Iran wants to nuke Israel, and it wants to, take over the whole world and build its empire. So.
When you're talking about Iran, there's maybe another topic we can just move on to quickly. Is do you think that the West should have the right to impose sanctions on, say, Iran for having a nuclear program, or do you think it's right for the West to say we can penalise you because you have nuclear weapons?
I think yeah, because what's his face, Ahmadinejad or whatever he wants to call himself, has said, when we get nukes, we will nuke Israel.
But is it not the height of hypocrisy, considering the fact that it was an Anglo-American? It was an Anglo-American project that in fact invented the nuclear bomb, and also we killed hundreds of thousands of people at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah. So how can we have the arrogance to say, you can't have nuclear weapons when we have the same technology?
Because having dropped the nuclear bombs, we are the people in the best position, above everyone else, to say that nuclear weapons are wrong. Because we've been there, we've done that, we've gone down that road, and we've seen that what happened is wrong. We were the trial run, and we've seen, the whole world's seen, nukes shouldn't ever be used.
Yeah,
They've been used twice. That was 2 times too many.
Yeah.
On to our next thing. Should universities be forced to take students with lower grades just because they're poorer? What do you think?
No, I don't think so, because yes, it's true that you can argue that students from poor background may not be able to, may not have access to the same education as students from a rich background, which would explain why they would have a lower grades, not necessarily because they're less intelligent, but because they haven't had the access
to private schools,
to a private school
to
education.
be coached through.
Exactly, that kind of thing. And also the other point is that the UK has an extremely small social mobility scale, in that where you are in life, if you start off in a rich background, you're likely to end up in a rich background. So I can see the point there. But ultimately, it is for the student, I think, to put in the work to get the higher grade, even if the teaching is not up to standard, so it may be more difficult. And I think that shows, because if you say, if someone's got 10 A stars in their GCSEs, say, or 4 A stars at A level from one school, and then from a private school, say, and then from another comprehensive school, they've got 10 A stars. To me, if I was the university, I'm looking at the application, it would mean more 10 A stars from a comprehensive than it would. But I don't think they should say, well, just because they're poorer, that then it's fine for them not to excel as much in that area.
I think universities are for their higher education institutions. They should take the best students, whatever social background. If they're poor, the government should find money to pay for them.
Yeah.
If they're not poor, they should pay for it themselves. But at the university, it's about excellence. It's about the best people, wherever they come from. You shouldn't be looking at race. You shouldn't be looking at religion. You shouldn't be looking at wealth. You should just be, are you the best person for this degree? Are you the best academically? Are you a well-rounded person? And if the answer's yes, then you should be going. And if the answer's no, well, you probably shouldn't be.
I think, in lots of, there's been a lot of criticism in the protests, which I think is actually been really good, that people have been on the streets protesting. This obviously something I do myself, but I think with the places in university, instead of actually having university fees, and meaning that people are going to start their lives with 20 grand worth of debt or whatever it is now, I think instead of that, they should cut places. Too many people, I think, I don't want to be stereotypical, but too many people do degree courses in media studies and other things like that.
I think the Labour government's target, 50% of people going to university. What are they on about? A university degree then means nothing.
Yeah.
The less people you have going to uni, the more it means. You should have, 10%, 30, 40 years ago, 4% of people went.
Yeah.
If you had a degree, that put you up there. It was only the best and the brightest that went. Okay, so practical courses. I think it's much better for people to choose, say, scientific subjects or artistic subjects or design-based subjects, so that because 14 is old enough to know where you want to go. You can't expect kids to know exactly what they want to do. I want to do this or that, but by 14 people sort of understand that they want to go in a certain direction or in a different direction, which is why I think this streams is an excellent idea, because it means that you're not doing subjects you don't want to do or you don't need to do. Okay,
but there was problems with that, because so say age 14 was the example you. I think that's the time. The issue with age 14 is you're still developing as a person. You haven't decided what. I think you might have an idea of what you enjoy and what you might want to go into, but you're still going through a lot of change as a person. And the problem with specialisation is great, because it allows you to go into a more specialised field where you're likely to make more money. But if you were to go into stream yourself into one particular course, then you were to be cutting off opportunities, and you only get the opportunities when you're young. When you're young, you only get those opportunities, and then by streamlining yourself into one particular area, then you might have cut off your ability to be a certain profession, a lawyer or a doctor.
No, because that's why it's streams. It's not a line. It's a band. You might, if you decide you really don't want to be a doctor, or you don't want to do anything scientific because you absolutely hate science and you can't do it. You can cut off some science subjects. It's not saying, oh, you should be a computer technician. You should do IT, maths, this, that, and the other, and only that. It's so that you can decide that you don't want to do these things and you can just push them to one side. And as you get older, you'd be expected to narrow your field, so that by the time you're 18, 21, sort of where you want to go.
And when you were talking about practical courses rather than just degrees, maybe because obviously a degree would hold more precedence than a diploma or an apprenticeship or something like that, at least for a lot of occupations. and for on a lot of CVs. But maybe you haven't considered sort of combined degrees. If you were to introduce combined degrees, sort of things that don't happen, where you could do English literature and do a practical course in something like woodwork or metalwork or something like that as an actual degree. So you have the theory there, and you have the theory to show, hey, I'm capable of doing a theoretical degree in English or in English literature, or I'm capable of doing economics, but I'm also have the practical skills of doing metalwork or woodwork or something like that.
I think that'll be really good for more academic students who want to keep their options open of doing something practical and don't really know where they want to go. So I think you need those as well, but you can't replace that with just practical things, because there are people who will decide they don't want to do academic subjects. So you need a range of subjects so people can choose.
Yeah.
I think that's the big choice.
Yeah.
People need to be able to choose, not be told. They don't want teachers to tell them
Mm.
that you need to be this or you need to do this
Yeah.
when you're older. You need to have guidance, so you know what the job entails, what you'd be expected to do, how hard you might be expected to work.
Mm.
But ultimately it's your choice, it's your life. You shouldn't be forced into doing anything that you don't want.
I think that's all, folks. Thank you for watching. Come back at youtube.com/past 168 hours, and me and Annie will be having a discussion about what happens in the news this week.